And just wait a moment for everybody to get in.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. We're just going to wait about 1 more minute so that we are allowing all our participants to be able to enter the webinar, and then we'll get started. All right, Mr. Swigert, can you see, are we good to start, or are there still people coming in?
We're at about 106. Yeah, there's still a few filing in.
Okay, wait a couple more seconds.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We will be recording this session and we will post it on our district website. So if you have a friend or somebody that registered that wasn't able to make it, or if you want to reference this at any time, you will be able to access the information that we're sharing on our website. Wanted to welcome everybody to our kindergarten parent information night. We have a few staff members here who are here to share some information. We're very excited. We had a great turnout for parents and guardians, families joining us this evening, getting ready to welcome our next class of kindergartners, the class of 2034. So we would like to do a couple introductions. My name is Jenna Funk. I am the K-5 elementary principal. And we also have joining us this evening who will share information throughout. We have Ms. Heidi Stein, who is our K-2 assistant principal, Mr. Greg Hummel, our director of food service, Mr. Steve Bell, who's our director of transportation, Mrs. Jerry Zacco, our PTO president, Mrs. Beth DeZerko, who is our district registrar, and we have some wonderful kindergarten teachers with us, Mrs. Anna Heck, Mrs. Kristen Sachs, and Mrs. Brooke Schrift. So thank you to everybody for joining us this evening. Like I said, we are going to be recording our session. So if you would like to refer back, or if you know somebody that wanted to make this evening but wasn't able to, we will be able to access the information. We are planning on running the webinar from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock tonight. We will go till 7 o'clock. If we end earlier than that, that is fine too. And if there's discussion or questions after that point, we will give you contact information that you can connect with one of us to get any questions that may not have been answered this evening answered for you. We are going to be going over a couple different topic areas, from food service to transportation, PTO, what the whole registration process looks like, and a little bit of kindergarten information, give you a little picture into what the daily life of a kindergartner looks like at Derry Township School District. So with that, I'm going to have Mr. Hummel share a little bit with you about our food services program.
Good evening, everyone. I know there's going to be a lot of information this evening, so I don't want to overwhelm you but just give you a little bit of food for thought. And then we'll follow back up again in August with some more information. For parents, if this is your first child entering Derry Township School District, a special welcome to all of you. Those who have children in the district, we have had a few changes, so you're going to find this information is helpful as well. We do offer breakfast and lunch daily. Your students automatically are assigned a food service account. It is linked to their student ID. That's the ID that's issued by the district once they're enrolled and stays with them for their entire educational career. So they automatically have a food service account, so you don't need to worry about doing anything with that. What we'll do is we'll send information out, of course, in August about how to place funds on that account. I do want to make sure that you all know that all the information about our department is on the link that's included on this slide. You can also find it on the district website under support services and food service. Again, because there's so much information coming your way. If you are applying for our free and reduced lunch program, there are a few unknowns for next year. Right now, we are participating in a universal free where all students do eat for free. That does expire unless it's extended at the end of June. So our applications are online for the free and reduced program to make it easier on all of you. You also will receive information in August for your students to access their account. We have a finger scan. It's not really a fingerprint, it's just a finger image. And we glean that information at registration in August. So that way they can easily access their account and the funds that are placed can be debited off of that account. So I believe that's about as much information as I like to kind of pass along to all of you at this time. Again, just go to our website if you have any additional questions, or I can answer questions at the end of the presentations this evening. I believe next is our Director of Transportation, Steve Bell.
Good evening, everyone. For kindergarten and with everybody, we start off with, we try and let all parents know that whatever your scheduled bus time is to try and have your students out at least 5 minutes prior to that scheduled time. And the reason for that being is that there can be little discrepancies during the route, students not riding, what have you, that could alter the time a few minutes in either direction. So it's just a good practice. If you do plan on having your kindergarten student ride the bus, we encourage you to start that from day one. The first 2 weeks of school, the elementary school makes such a big effort to get the students into a routine and how to get to their bus and just a lot of things going on. And if you don't do that, they're kind of lost if they come later on. If they start from the beginning, I know it's hard for a lot of parents to put their students on the bus because it's scary to them, but it's the best thing you can do because they'll build their confidence in no time and they really adapt well. And hopefully this year will be different from last and we can actually have a normal start to school and have a kindergarten orientation where your student will get a chance to ride the bus. We have the buses there for like an orientation day before school starts and gives them a chance to kind of get a little comfortable with the vehicle and getting on the bus. Plan B for inclement weather and early dismissals. We pretty much transport just about every daycare imaginable in Derry Township. But the reason I say have a plan B is just in case a daycare would close, or if we do have an early dismissal, if you have something else in mind other than your student going to daycare, that you kind of have these things worked out ahead of time. The earlier you can contact us, the better chance we have of getting them to the correct place. Any kind of changes with bus stops or requests for bus stop type information, you can submit to our transportation administrative assistant and her email is there. If it's an address change though, that has to go to the school's office that your student is attending first before it comes to us. We can't make a change until it's done at the school first. Next slide. Students can have a different AM and PM bus stop location, but it has to be consistent all week. We do not do fluctuating schedules such as on Tuesdays, the student goes here, Wednesdays there. It's way too confusing, especially for the elementary level. And it just increases our chances of somebody getting on the wrong bus and getting dropped off where they shouldn't be. For kindergarten students, we will not drop them off unless there is somebody there to receive them, whether it's a parent, they have an older sibling on the bus that can help them, or another guardian. It's just too big of a risk to just drop them off on their own when they're that little. And if that does happen, if you happen to be not be at a stop, and it happens, sometimes people run late. We just typically, our drivers will keep them on the bus. A lot of times they'll just swing back. They'll call into us and say, hey, there wasn't anyone here to receive this child. I'm going to continue with my route. And in the meantime, we try and contact the parent, or a lot of times they'll be contacting us, and the driver will swing back and drop them off. But if none of that works, the go-to is we take them back to the elementary school, to the office. And that's where the parent will have to collect their student once they're available. Bus stop information currently on our transportation webpage, there's a link to Info Finder, and it's strictly a read-only type of site. You can't change information. You can't really send us information. It's you look up by your address, and it'll give you the information as far as bus stop time and bus numbers. Hopefully, eventually, we'll be tied in with our school student information system, but right now, this is how we do it, and it's worked fairly well at this point. But if you ever have any questions, you can always give a call into our transportation office. And obviously, we're not going to answer all the questions there are that everyone's going to have, but I do encourage you to look on our district website under the transportation tab. There's a lot of useful information in there, and a lot of information that might answer some of the questions you have that just a lot of people don't take the time to look at or don't realize it's there. So thank you for your time this evening, and look forward to transporting your students.
Next, we're going to have Mrs. Jerry Zacco. She is our PTO president, share with you a little bit of PTO information.
Mrs. Zacco, we're unable to hear you at this time.
Mrs. Zacco, if you are okay, I can try to share some of the information. For some reason, your audio, it shows that you're not on mute, but we're not able to hear you. So I can share the information for you. All right, so we do have some information here from our PTO. We have a wonderful PTO group that is very supportive of our school and our students and our staff. It is just a great collaborative effort. Membership to the PTO is completely voluntary, but it is much appreciated, and it's open to all family and faculty members. So if you are interested in hearing more about it or joining the PTO, that is something definitely to explore the PTO page a little bit more about. We do have volunteer opportunities throughout the school, and those are typically coordinated through our PTO. For the district, all of our volunteers must have the mandatory clearances. So there is information on our district website about the clearances that are required for parents, guardians, family members who would like to volunteer. There are several specific ones, so make sure that you visit the website. There is a link there for you if you're interested in moving forward with working on some of those clearances. In addition, there is PTO information on the district website. Our PTO meetings typically are held the second Thursday of each month at 9:30 a.m. And the PTO also has a Facebook group that you can request to join, and it's a good group of all of our other PTO members. Just another nice support system as a parent in our school. All right. Next, we're going to have Ms. Stein share a little bit about attendance with you.
Hi, I'm Heidi Stein. I was the second and third grade assistant principal. So those of you that have second and third grade students, you might know who I am. And I'm currently the kindergarten through second grade assistant principal. The compulsory age for kids to attend school in Pennsylvania recently changed. It used to be 8 and now it's 6. So students need to attend school from age 6 until 18 or graduation, whichever one comes sooner. And that is across the state of Pennsylvania. You might be thinking, oh, but I have a 5-year-old. As long as your 5-year-old is 5 by September 1st, they would also be eligible to attend school in the fall. And once you start that, so at age 5, if you enter school and you start attending school, that starts the attendance for that child. So in Pennsylvania, if you decide that you have a 5-year-old and then you want to change your mind, once they're in school, and we have to follow the attendance rules and laws for Pennsylvania. So if you do have a 5-year-old by September 1st, you're going to be able to register for the fall in incoming kindergarten, which actually is going to start tonight because it's February 3rd. And it's going to go till May 3rd. So we're hoping that we can get everyone, or as many as we can possibly, registered in the next couple months. We have a rollover during the summer, and that way we have a good idea going into the summer about how many kids we have and placing them. We're hoping for replacement letters to go out at the beginning of August. And then we are hoping about a week before school to do a sneak peek for kids to get an idea of what school will look like. And then this year, a happy pandemic perk is we had a new Meet the Teacher where kids came into school for an hour on their first day of school with a parent. And we kind of had them rotate through. And so we liked it so much, we're going to do that again for next year. So in the fall, if you register and have your kindergarten students start in the fall, they will come in for an hour with a parent or guardian, and they'll get to meet the teacher and kind of see what the classroom looks like. And then their first real day will start on the second day of school.
Hi, I'm Beth DeZerko. I'm the district registrar. I will be registering your students this year. So you're going to start by going to our district webpage. You're going to click on Contact Us, enrolling at DTSD. And then once you're in there, you're going to create an account. It is not the same account as your home access. If you have older students, a lot of parents get confused and think that's their username and password that they should be using. You want to create a new username and a new password. And then once you do that, you're going to register a new account. Once you register, it's going to ask for your information. So you're going to put as much information in as you can. Your parent login, your email address, your home address. Then you're going to hit submit. And once you hit submit, you're going to get a screen where it says new application. You're going to click on that and it'll bring you to the screen to enroll your student. So there's multiple different boxes that you're going to be filling in. There is a save button after each section. You want to make sure that you save each section as you go, or else if you don't save it, it'll be lost and we won't have that information. After that, so each section looks like this. You're going to start out, you're going to select new kindergarten registration. You're going to put your student's name. If you can put their full name and have their middle name in there, that would be fantastic. And you're going to follow that down and then you'll hit submit or save. And then the next section is for your address. You're going to put whatever phone number you want contacted first. There's a section to put more phone numbers, but this will be the primary phone number. And in our system, although it may be a cell phone, it has to be listed as home primary, so it picks up on the student's account. So you're going to put whatever point of contact you want contacted first and home primary, and then save again. And then in this next section, you're going to add your contact information. So you're going to add a contact. It will usually have the information for the parent who is filling it out already in there. So you're going to just fill that out. Make sure you put an email address in there. We do contact parents a good bit through email. And then you're going to hit save. And then you're going to add dad, grandparents, any emergency contacts that you'd want in there. With as much information as you have for them. And just like if you put dad's information in, try to put his email address in too, because both parents would be contacted with that email. Then you'll hit save. And then you're going to select current year, and the entry date should be June 3rd, 2021. So we're using the last day of school. And then you'll hit save there. This section, you do not have to complete. Do not fill out the medical information tab. You can just skip by that. And then in this section, this is basically asking what your students' home language is, if they were ever in an IU program, or if they have an IEP. All that information is very useful to us. So if you can fill this in to the best of your ability, at the bottom, it is going to ask you if you're affiliated with the Army or the military. And if you're retired, it's just asking you for that date. Then you're going to hit save. And then at the end, you click the I agree, and you must hit submit. If you do not hit submit, I won't be able to see it or to complete the registration. So you have to make sure you don't save it, but you must hit the submit button. So that will take it into where I can see it. After you've completed the online registration, and you've gathered all the documents that are required. So you're going to need your student's birth certificate, their immunization records, the parent's driver's license, and proof of residency. The acceptable forms are a deed, a lease, a current utility bill, or a credit card bill, a car registration, or a Dairy Township tax bill. We are pretty set on those and pretty strict about what we can and cannot take per PDE. So you'll either contact me via my phone number or you'll email me. At that point, there'll be some documents that I'll send to you that need to be signed. You'll upload your documents to me. You can either scan them to me, or I believe at the end of the online registration, there's a spot there that says upload documents. We just got it working, so I didn't have it in here. You can try to upload them there. But if you have any questions, email works best for me. It's the quickest way I'm going to get back to you, but you can call. And then after that, I'll let you know that I have everything, your students registered. You will need to have a physical and a dental, and I believe a vision exam for your students to start school.
Thank you, Mrs. Zerko. So I know that those pieces and those slides will be important as you start the registration process. I do want to reiterate, we are recording the webinar, but we will also make sure these slides are put into a PDF format and then post it on our website. So you can also just access the slides when you are ready to begin the registration process, and that you can walk through those steps that Mrs. Zerko just walked you through. Next, I want to share just a little bit about our Early Childhood Center and the opportunities that we have there. If you have older students in the district, you probably are well familiar with the Early Childhood Center, but some of you, this is going to be your first student who is coming through our school district, and so it is a very exciting time. Our Early Childhood Center is part of the elementary area on campus, but it is a separate building. It sits behind the elementary school off of Homestead. It is a building that holds just our kindergarten and first grade classrooms. So we do have sections of kindergarten and first grade classrooms. They're clustered throughout the building. So it creates that atmosphere of closeness, building that sense of community, while still having the advantage to be closely connected to our other elementary grades and buildings, to allow us the opportunities to collaborate with other staff members and have experiences with some of the other grade levels as well. All kindergarten students will have an essential arts, or what we call a special, each day. And those specials are music, library, they have a social skills special, art, and physical education. In addition to that, those specials, they do have opportunities for social and play opportunities through their recesses, lunches. When we think about our academics at the ECC, we do realize our kindergartners are coming in at many varying different levels, and we are well prepared to support all of the different needs of our kindergartners as they come in. So we have a variety of supports in the areas of reading and math, many supports in the classroom, but we also have opportunities for supports through math and reading specialists, through intervention. We also have supports through special education down the road if that would be a need as well. So we are very well prepared to address all of the different needs that our kindergartners bring to us at the ECC Center. And lastly, we do have a curriculum. It is focused on those academic areas, reading, math, science, social studies, writing, but it is very much integrated through social and emotional learning experiences. We have had a big focus the past few years on integrating play-based opportunities and really addressing the needs for the whole child. So even though we are a full-day kindergarten program, there are many opportunities for that play and that social emotional learning that is integrated throughout the whole school day for the kiddos. So with that, I would like to have some of our kindergarten staff members share just a little bit with you about what is it like to be a kindergartner, day in the life of a kindergartner, and also share with you some things that you can start to do at home to help prepare your kids for this transition into kindergarten next year.
Hi, I am Anna Heck. I'm one of the lucky teachers that will be guiding your kiddo through its first year of school in the big buildings. So we understand absolutely that kindergarten is a big transition for our youngest learners, and we want to do everything we can to make that as easy and as enjoyable as possible. We spend the first month or so of school focused on teaching routines and social behaviors and independent skills. Things like sharing, playing, classroom expectations, meeting our friend Listening Larry, and learning what it means to be a student in school. Once those things are in place, we transition into more academic instruction. So by about October, most of our academic instruction is usually done in the mornings. We have a morning meeting and calendar time for a half an hour to 45 minutes or so. We'll then do about 2.5 hours of direct instruction in reading and math. Typically that's done in the morning. It's a similar schedule with all the classrooms, but it is going to vary based on the classroom needs and what's happening with that schedule. So it's not necessarily, if you have twins, the classroom schedules are not going to be identical if they're in different classrooms. We have about 2 hours of a combination of solo play where the kids sit and play quietly. A lot of times we use that sort of to decompress after lunch or even at the beginning of the day. Then we have built-in sort of structured play where they really get to interact with their peers, they get to practice their social skills, and we get to use that time to focus on what we can teach through play instruction. Then we also have reading and math learning centers, which the children get to move freely about and work somewhat independently, building those skills and practicing things that we've learned in that morning's lesson. Usually that takes place mostly in the afternoon. It is spread somewhat throughout the day so that the kids have an opportunity to move freely, you know, and they're not sitting still all day long by any means. We also have a 45 minutes of outdoor recess that's included in that. And they get to access our playground, which is terrific. And, everything from blowing bubbles on the playground to playing games. We really try to incorporate that and fill that with as much fun as we possibly can. We do spend about an hour. Lunch is about 25 to 30 minutes. And then we call them transitions, but really we mean bathroom breaks throughout the day. So that takes up about a half an hour of our time as well. But our schedule is flexible, and it does leave us time. While science and social studies are included in our curriculum during math and reading, we also have time during the day to really explore those and bring them into the classroom with additional opportunities. And that's something that is just an amazing asset to our schedule. This has been the schedule that we sort of worked out the first year of full day kindergarten. And it's been a really successful schedule. It's a great way to scaffold your kids to bring them into that full day experience while minimizing the emotional exhaustion that can come with that full day schedule. They're going to be tired when they get off the bus, for sure. But it's a schedule that really works well to get them into that school setting. And I know for sure that all of the kindergarten teachers are really excited to return to our full day in-person schedule in the fall. And with that, I think I'm going to throw it to some other colleagues.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kristen Sachs. I am another one of the full day kindergarten teachers. And what we're showing you here is a resource that we put together just of some readiness skills for kiddos as they're coming into kindergarten. And I just want, as you're looking at this, and realize that this will be posted on the district website as well, that we're not going to go over every block on here, and that please understand that as you're looking at some of these things, some of these concepts and items that we posted on here are things that will be reviewed and gone over in those first few weeks of kindergarten as well. So I thought that I would start just by highlighting some of the areas that if you're looking for things to do with your kiddo as you're preparing him or her to enter into kindergarten, that I'll highlight some of the ones that would be the most essential things for your child to come with on here. So they are in A to Z. I just kind of went through and picked, like I said, the ones that I thought were most pertinent. Bathroom independence is one of those things that will give your child that feeling of being able to go into school and be able to be independent in that area. Zippers and buttons help with that whole process as well. So if you're looking at working on something over the course of the next few months, that would be great. Another area would be holding a pencil, crayons, or scissors with a dominant hand. And just incorporating some fun activities that would allow your child the opportunity to do that if that's something that he or she still needs more practice with. Also, having your child be able to print and recognize his or her name as well. Not so worried about if it's printed with correct upper and lowercase formation, but so much in our classroom is labeled. And although we use a lot of pictures and things like that, kids are really proud when they come in and they can find their spot in the room that has their name on it. So that would be something else to consider. And then the final thing that I'll say is the takeaway is it kind of puts two together from the optimistic one to the excited part. Anything that you can do for your child between now and that start of kindergarten, just to build that anticipation and excitement, is going to make your child's transition into kindergarten a much more smooth one, just to kind of talk it up and get them excited along with you for this big step for them.
Thank you. So that leaves us, and that brings us to the portion of our evening where we want to hear from you. So are there any questions or items that are out there? If you do have questions, we would ask, if you could use the chat feature in the webinar, go ahead and type your question in the chat, and Mr. Swigert will help us to try to go through those in an orderly process in the next period of time to try to answer as much as we can.
Mrs. Funk, if they can't type in the chat window, are you willing to take live questions?
That would be fine.
Okay, great. Okay, we have Matthew Dean with a hand raised. I'm gonna allow him to talk.
Hello, are there any special considerations for registering twins? Do we need to go through the online registration process twice, or can we do 2 students at one time?
So you will complete both for both students, and the online registration will be the same. I'll take one proof of residency, the birth certificates, so you can do them both at the same time.
Okay, we'll take another question. I have Kelly Williams.
Hi, we had a son that went through the kindergarten program years ago, and they did a snack program where you purchase snacks and then it was provided each day. Is that still happening for incoming kindergartners, or do they provide their own snack each day?
I can take that, and maybe some of the teachers can jump in as well. Yes, we used to do a snack program, but now that it's an all-day program and we're offering breakfast and lunch, teachers will address the snacks individually with parents. But with us supplying breakfast and lunch, we eliminated the food service snack program.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have Michelle Davies.
Do you remember when we had the first and he would not eat anything?
Hi, I was wondering if we are allowed to request teachers.
Not take specific requests for teachers. We have 12 wonderful kindergarten teachers. If there are specific characteristics or concerns or things that you want the team to be aware of when placing your child, there will be a kindergarten profile questionnaire that will be sent to you. So after you complete the online registration, Mrs. Zarko shared that she would then be sending you some additional forms to fill out. So there will be a questionnaire profile there. And so if you have specific characteristics or things that you would like us to know about your child in finding the best match for them in a kindergarten placement, please make sure that you mark it on there, and we do look at that and take those things into consideration. But we do not take specific requests for teachers.
Okay, we have Sunil Danil.
Thank you. My question was, our son has been at home for the whole year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. What I wanted to know is that, what are you guys doing to kind of help children like that transition into going into school, and what we can do as a parent to kind of aid that process? I'm sure that is a point of anxiety for a lot of, perhaps some parents who have kept their kids just out of safety at home for a whole year, and they're worried about how hard of an adjustment it would be for them.
You absolutely bring up a very good point, and a point that I would say that many parents are feeling, not just our kindergarten parents that are having incoming kindergartners, but parents of elementary kids across the board have some of those same considerations and concerns. I will say that as we are planning for next year and hopefully for a full return for our students, you know, that idea of how are we going to support that transition for our students back into the school setting is one that is on the top of our lists. You know, when we look at programming and needs for kids, it's not just academic, but it's really how are we working together to meet those social and emotional needs. In our classrooms, as I shared, especially our kindergarten classrooms are very much play-based and have very many social opportunities, as well as just knowing that, you know, the boat that you're in with your child is going to be the same boat that all of the children coming into kindergarten probably have been in with with the past year and a half of social experiences being different. So that is on the radar, and there are going to be many opportunities just for that social emotional learning, connecting with kids and making sure that they're feeling comfortable. We really have to hit those things before we can dive into the academic pieces.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Adrian Cray.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
I currently drop off my first grade son. And so I was just curious if drop off was going to be the same process as it is this year.
I would anticipate that it will be. It has worked very well from our perspective this year. The addition of the car tags this year was something that we put in place to help with some of the things we had to put in place for COVID, but it's something we've been looking at to continue anyways, just with the safety aspect, and the traffic flow seems to have been going much smoother. So yes, that would be the plan.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Katie Wagner.
Hi there. My question is there a certain form? I have a dentist appointment and a doctor appointment coming up for my 5-year-old. Is there a certain form that maybe happens like when Beth DeZerko emails us those forms?
Beth?
Yeah, so if you go onto our website and under the registration in the lower right-hand corner, it's kind of tiny, but the forms are there. You can print them out, or you can email me and I can send you the forms through email if that works better.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep.
We have Regina Conway.
Thank you. So it sounds like a full in-person return is planned, but is there any sort of contingency or backup plan if that was not the case? What would that look like?
So as we're planning right now, that is the hope, and that's what we're planning for. However, we're not sure where we'll be at with COVID and the restrictions and what we need to do in the fall. So just like, as we were planning for the school year, we had many different scenarios and plans. We will have the same for the fall. And I think as the year progresses and we get more information, that will help us to determine which plan we need to move forward with. But, for our purposes for this evening and purposes for our planning that we're starting, we are planning in that way, and then we'll adjust as needed if the information or the situation with COVID makes us do otherwise.
Great, thank you.
We have Holly Schlitzer.
Hi, thank you. I have 2 questions. The first one is, what is the first day of school? Is there a date on the calendar?
There is not a date yet. The school board should be approving a calendar for next year very soon, but it has not been approved at this point, no.
Okay. And then my second question was, when we set up transportation for our students, I'm going to be using a daycare facility, and I wondered if there was a special form or a section in the registration that information would be filled out.
So once you're done completing the online registration and you contact me, I'll be sending a transportation form out for that information.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Megan Bricker, you can now ask your question.
Hi, we had a daughter in the first year you did full day kindergarten, and we took advantage of the waiver half day program. And I'm wondering whether that is something that will still be available this year or not.
So that is something that we've been in discussions about. I will say that the original plan for the full day program was to eventually have that go away and not be an option anymore. In looking at the numbers over the past year, We've started with only a few on the waiver, and actually last year, I think by midpoint, we didn't have any students on the waiver. So we are looking and having conversation with our curriculum council to eliminate that for this year.
Okay, Sarah Nicholich or Nikolich.
Nichols. I have two questions. One, what are the specific arrival and dismissal times for kindergarten? And what is a typical classroom size like?
So arrival dismissal times, typical arrival, and this may change by a few minutes next year as we finalize our master schedule, but typically the doors open at 8:30. Students need to be in their classrooms by 8:40, and then dismissal started at 3:35. We may tweak those by just a few minutes for next year, but that would be typically what you're expecting. Typical class size for kindergarten class, again, and teachers, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's around 17 to 19-ish, 19 on the high end, but those are kind of where our numbers are at right now.
Okay, Christiana Bankole, you can ask your question.
Yeah, hi everyone. My question is, like I have a twins, so are you going to put them in the same class or the different class?
So I believe you said that you have twins and you're asking, would they be placed in the same class or different classes?
Yes.
So we do like to place twins in separate classes. We think it allows them to create some independence and have those experiences. Our teachers do collaborate very closely together. But if you have, more specific concerns or questions or want to talk about that more, please feel free to reach out to myself or Mrs. Stein, and we can talk with you through that, what that could look like.
Okay, Jessica Albright, you can ask your question.
Okay, so this goes off of the arrival time and the dismissal time question earlier. You said that the arrival time was about 8:40 or 8:30, and then you let them in at 8:40. Isn't the time changing this year for kindergarteners and first grade to be earlier? Like, I thought that, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Last year, we went through the process of changing our school start times. And then when COVID hit and all of the things COVID hit, that has been delayed. So that will not be put in place next year. I anticipate that it would be put in place the following year, but that was kind of put on pause when last March came along and things came up with COVID.
Okay, Christine Van Brekel, you can ask your question. And you should be unmuted now, Christine. Okay, while we wait for her, Megan Peterson, you can go.
Hi, sorry, I may have missed, I was late to the meeting, so maybe you already covered this. Will kindergartners still be issued school iPads this coming year, or will that not be a thing?
So our students are one-to-one this year. We are exploring as far as if that will continue next year. Each year we do have to look at our iPads and if we need to refresh them and update any, and where the budget funds for that would be. So that is not something that I could say for certain, but it would be something that we would continue to try to push for, to make sure that we have the least amount of students on the device, on a device shared.
Okay, Rudolph, you can ask your question next.
My question is there any chance that students will not be accepted? Like
applicants will not be accepted?
So if your child does meet the age requirement, which is the age of 5 by September 1st, and you also meet the residency requirement and then are able to show that you are a resident of the district, I don't see any reason why your child would not be accepted to start kindergarten.
And Christine Van Brekel, you have your hand raised again. Did you have another question?
So my daughter is she'll be turning 5 on August 1st. Do you have any advice for children that are like sort of around the cutoff?
Teachers, I'm not going to put you on the spot. I think it's really, every child is so individual. I don't know if anybody wants to chime in, with what your thoughts are. I think it really depends on, every child is so individual with their readiness, and, some children have been in different programs and some children have not at this point. So it's really hard to say one way or the other. I'd be happy to talk with you some more specifically about your child if you wanted to connect with me at some point. But again, it's just, every child is so individual.
Sarah Linsky, you can now ask your question.
Hi. I was wondering if you guys implemented certain tools for kids that maybe have a hard time listening, paying attention. I've heard things like having kids sit on balls so they can keep busy while they're focusing on things, or fidget spinners, or any of that kind of stuff. Do you implement those, or do you allow those to be implemented for certain children?
Do any of our teachers want to talk maybe about some of the flexibility or tools you might use for kiddos to help them?
I'll jump in. Yes, to answer your question. We pretty much do whatever we need to do. If it is something, we utilize fidgets, we utilize specific seating where they can, have that movement. If they're, able to focus through that, we'll do preferential seating where we might have the students sit closer to us if they need more reminders. There are a lot of positive reinforcement tricks in our bags that we use to help the children adapt. We recognize no 5-year-old wants to sit for as long, as they may need to sit at certain times. So we try to come at it with a wide variety of tools and perspectives to help that process along.
And I was also going to add in, we have sensory paths that have been put into the hallways in the ECC as well. And those are great for motor breaks, especially for kiddos that need a little bit of extra time to get up and move. And the children are taught how to use those in a productive way early on in the year so that it's very focused and serves its intended purpose. So those are definitely possibilities also outside of the classroom, but that are utilized by classroom teachers at the ECC.
Okay, Mrs. Funk, at this time, I see no other hands raised.
Thank you, Mr. Swigert. We are hovering right around 7 o'clock, so I am going to wrap things up. I did want to share this last slide with you. And like I said, all of this webinar was recorded. We will post it on our district website. We will also make sure that these slides are posted and available for you as well. There is contact information there for myself and Ms. Stein, our assistant principal, as well as our 2 wonderful administrative assistants who work in our ECC office. They are awesome at answering general questions for you as well. And as was shared in the presentation, please make sure you visit the district website. It is listed there. If you go to the ECC tab, when you get to the district website, when you click on that building, you will be taken to the ECC page, and there will be another tab that you can click on kindergarten information. That's where all of this will be accessible after this evening's presentation. So as I said, if you have additional questions, please reach out. I do thank you all for joining us. Thank you to everybody, all of our Dairy Township staff who joined us tonight and shared information. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a good evening.